regime.
So you're talking about structure. You're talking about structure.
I'm talking about structure. I'm talking about a jigsaw puzzle of life where we all fit into. Instead of, one of the problems our children tend to have, not just our children, but all of us tend to have, is where do I fit in this? We see a picture of the world. Where do I fit in as a person, as a people? Where do I fit in? We look at the world and we don't see ourselves.
Yeah.
As black people, we look at the world and we see ourselves as, the fodder, the beggar bowl. Mama Africa, they show images of brothers and sisters running around naked, haven't got no clothes, haven't got nothing. You see pictures of Zimbabwe starving, and the world saying, well, we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to extend a hand for these poor, black beggars, people who don't have anything. Mama Africa, the most minerally rich continent on the planet, is in poverty, or shown to be in poverty. So we're looking to see, where do we fit into this big jigsaw? So we really need to know. We really need to study this chess thing then to understand our nation. You notice the chessboard has the black side and the white side, Our chessboard, if we made the world into a chessboard, what would the side look like? Since everybody's integrated together, what would our chess side look like? There'd be one white pawn next to one black pawn next to one yellow pawn and a green pawn, and there'd be a draft piece in there as well. Everybody's linking together. Now, we're not saying that we shouldn't link together as people, but we need to link together as brothers and sisters first. Every nation of the world is doing that, linking together as brothers and sisters first, and then coming together as a people. As a unit, yeah. As a unit, and understand. Then we can understand when we all have something to give, something to share. We can see the importance of one another. Yeah,
Allah said in the Qur'an, he said that he made us of different tribes and families that we may get to know one another. So he made us different to one another so that we can get to know one another, not so that we can always stay divided from one another. But that means that everyone within that group have to know who they are, so that they've got something to bring to the table when they're coming to debate or to share.
Otherwise you're coming as a
that's
freeloader.
Like empty-handed. Yeah, that's right.
So in the game of life, in the game of chess, brothers and sisters, what are we? Are we pawns? Are we rooks? Are we bishops? No, we're rejecting religion, so we can't be bishops, right? Are we castles? What are we? Are we kings and queens? We say a lot of the time, we used to be kings and queens.
Or are we even part of the game? Because, we always say, I'm not playing.
When
it doesn't go our way.
Are we chess, or are we just catching drafts? Because we're not part of the game. You notice that's the game the parents generally play. Our parents generally played. Either it'd be dominoes. That's right. Or it'd be drafts. And it'd be some blam, 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 blam going on. That'd be the most important part of that game, was blam, 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 the aggression that was put in. But we need to be looking at strategy now in order to, reclaim our children, reclaim that which is ours. Okay. Failure to submit to the guidance, failure to submit to the divine order, produces friction, which impedes motion. Would you agree with that? Slow motion in us as a people equals slow or no growth or development. Yeah? Slow growth and development leads to frustration in ambitious people. If you're ambitious and, there's slow growth and development, it makes you get frustrated. Why aren't we moving? Why are we on the same rung all the time? Yeah? So it leads to frustration if you're ambitious. If you're not ambitious, you don't really business about the growth and development of you as a people.
So it's a knock-on effect, isn't it? One thing leads to another, leads to another,
Listen
leads
to
to another.
Frustration leads to us apportioning blame. When you're frustrated, well, it's because of her. She's not doing her part. Well, it's because of this. It's because of those ones over there. It's because of these ones, Heightened emotion and insecurity leads to irrational actions which cause death and destruction. So all these things lead on to one another. But if you go back to the root of it, it starts to failure to submit to the divine order. We're talking about stopping the killing, or looking at stopping the killing, or wanting to stop the killing, but we're not submitting to divine order. We may even talk about divine order, At the khutbah yesterday, the Imam was talking about those who speak the word, recite the word, and those who actually, submit to it and put it into action? Are we reciters of the word, or are we doers of the word? Those of us who are believers, let alone those who don't even submit to it at all.
That's that same principle that we were taught when we were young. Do as I say, don't do as I do.
In another form, yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So how do we expunge that? Because that's a tip. That is a PG tip from Satan, from Shaitan. And when we follow his PG tip, we become like him. So we can be absolutely led astray, absolutely lied to, absolutely confused about who we are. We think we're on one path, but our actions show that we're not. We're not bearing fruit. So we can't be on the right path. So therefore, what do we do if we're not on the right path?
That's the Bible. There's a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the ends thereof are the ways of death. And that's what ends up happening, brothers and sisters, that we end up doing something and we may think it's right, or we think it's all right, because hell is an entertainment, Allah said in the Qur'an. And in it being an entertainment, it means we may be having a good time. It may feel all right at the time, but we don't know. That's right. But we don't know that that's actually leading to our demise. It's leading to us dying. It's leading to the breakdown of the structure of the family. It's leading to the breakdown of our relationships.
So we see our families and our relationships breaking down. Yet, here we are, looking at, stopping the killing, talking about stopping the killing, lamenting about stopping the killing. Just this week, another one was stabbed, or another one was shot, or some other acts of wanton, mad violence took place in our community. And everybody, now we're not even looking at it too tough, we're turning our blind eye to it now. It's become like normal. It's become commonplace, or it's getting commonplace. We want to see something radical, we hear from brothers and sisters. I want to see something radical. I go to this group, I go to the nation to hear something radical, and I don't hear anything radical.
And it's really it's very serious, because I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I'm thinking about it in terms of stopping the killing, and looking at it from like an aerial view, from like overhead, and like on Google Earth, where it just goes from one area and it just homes straight on in. And what you're saying is that part of this stopping the killing is because we don't submit ourselves to any law, order and authority. And when we don't submit ourselves to any form of authority, we end up being lawless.
Yes.
And that's what encourages the bad behaviour, the violence, the sickness, the illnesses, the diseases, the sexual diseases, all of those things that we're falling victim to now in our society.
That's right. And they impact on us as parents. And we teach our children in our behaviour.
Of course.
So we guide them into it. So we need not only to follow the divine order, but we need to follow order, law and order, in order to turn this situation around. Even armies of the world follow rules of engagement.
Yes,
this is why I call this rules of engagement. And I've got a little thing about rules of engagement, which I pulled up off Wikipedia. Yeah. It says the rules of engagement in military or police operations, the rules of engagement, ROE, determine when, where, and how force shall be used. Such rules are both general and specific, and there have been large variations between cultures throughout history. Underline. The rules may be made public, as in martial law or curfew situation, but are typically only fully known to the force that intends to use them. So the rules of engagement towards how do we engage with our children? How do we engage with each other? Are only known, or sometimes it's made public, but sometimes it isn't made public. Sometimes only if you embrace Islam, or you embrace a culture, and you're going to know about the rules of engagement that goes along with that culture.
And you learn more.
And you learn more as you go along.
When you submit yourself to it, then you learn more.
We've got another piece here. It says, the rules of engagement take two forms. Actions a soldier may take without consulting higher authority, unless explicitly forbidden, sometimes called command by negation. Now, you have to look at the single soldier as a parent now. There are sometimes, as a parent, you got to deal with your children. And you don't need to consult anyone because they're your children.